Hey guys, let's get more news about Dallas, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Cowboys Jerry Jones delivers Dalvin Cook Week 3 reality check. If you were hoping to see Cowboys running back Dalvin Cook make his Dallas debut in Week 3 against the Ravens, you're probably not alone. The Cowboys were not impressive in any facet of the game in their Week 2 loss to the Saints, but the running game was one area that was especially lacking. That's to be expected for a team whose opponent builds a 35-13 first-half lead, but still, a running game that tallied 68 yards on 21 carries was especially disappointing. For the year, the Cowboys have gained just 170 yards on the ground, 25th in the NFL. Their average of 3.7 yards per attempt ranks 26th. This might be the perfect time for the Cowboys to unveil a four-time Pro Bowl running back like Cook, who was signed on August 28 to fill out a suspect running back group that lost former Pro Bowler Tony Pollard and replaced him with aging ex-Cowboy Ezekiel Elliott. Except that team owner and de facto GM Jerry Jones says we're not likely to see Cook during the Week 3 showdown with Baltimore, the team Cook last played for after he was signed for the playoffs following a poor year with the New York Jets. Speaking on 105.3 The Fan in Dallas, Jones continued operating under the apparent delusion that the running game was peachy, a prospect that he and the franchise have put forward despite the obvious dearth of frontline backs on the roster. Elliott was a backup for the Patriots for most of last season. Rico Dowdle has struggled with injury and played only sparingly, 96 total carries in 3 years, in his time in the NFL. Still, Jones said, we should not expect to see Cook, at least not yet. I don't know how it will pan out for us. We looked healthy as of yesterday with the running back room, Jones said. Right now, we were pleased. We could have had some better protection in general with our running backs, that's a strong suit, of course, for Zeke. But Zeke got pretty hurried there on a few occasions. Right now, across the board, Rico did real well, I thought, in the game. So I don't necessarily see a change that would involve Cook this week. I like where we are with our running backs, but we got good depth. We just did not get to run them enough on Sunday. Cook has been with the practice squad for 3 weeks now, and if he does not play on September 22, it is unlikely the Cowboys will turn around and try to squeeze him onto the roster for the Week 4 matchup against the New York Giants, which is a short week, Thursday night game. While Jones was fairly negative on Tuesday about the question of Cook playing in Week 3, Coach Mike McCarthy was, at least, neutral about it on Monday. He complimented Cook's progress and said only that him playing on Sunday would be a consideration. Dalvin looks good, McCarthy said in his media conference. Understanding that a big thing for a vet is just the terminology, frankly, and just the language adjustment. I think he has progressed very, very nicely since he's been here. He's as natural of an outside zone runner that I've competed against. So, he looks good. Yeah, he's getting there. Giants cash in on future draft pick swap with Cowboys. The New York Giants may be off to a rough start after losing their first 2 games of the 2024 regular season, but they notched a small victory this week, capitalizing on a future draft pick swap with the Dallas Cowboys. During training camp, the Giants traded former defensive tackle Jordan Phillips to the Cowboys. Phillips appeared in 2 games for Dallas but was unexpectedly placed on injured reserve despite being fully healthy. On Wednesday, Phillips confirmed that his wrist was fine, indicating the Cowboys' decision to sideline him was more about roster management than injury concerns. Despite this move, the trade between the Giants and Cowboys triggered a draft pick swap. As a result, the Giants will receive a 2026 6th-round pick from Dallas in exchange for a 2026 7th-rounder. While this might seem like a minor move, it slightly improves the Giants' future draft capital, providing them with more flexibility when building for the future. Although this may not be a game-changing move, small wins like this can accumulate over time. The Giants could even package the upgraded pick with others in a future deal to move up in the draft, depending on their needs. Given the Giants' struggles in run defense so far this season, losing Phillips may have hurt the team in the short term. Their interior defense has been notably weak, and having Phillips in the rotation might have helped shore up that area. However, the front office appears to be focused on the future, recognizing that their current roster, especially with Daniel Jones' uncertain future at quarterback, may undergo significant changes after the 2024 season. While the Giants' performance on the field may be faltering, this draft pick swap serves as a small, positive step toward future improvement. Cowboys trade pitch could erase question marks for Dak Prescott. The Dallas Cowboys' embarrassing 44-19 loss to the New Orleans Saints on Sunday, September 15, raised more than a few eyebrows, both with fans and those in the media. If franchise quarterback Dak Prescott is expected to succeed and help lead the Cowboys to a Super Bowl, he could likely use additional support on the offense, and one NFL expert is calling for the Cowboys to bring on a certain wide receiver from the Carolina Panthers to help Prescott. In a September 17 feature for Fansided, NFL writer and analyst Zach Presnell says he believes Carolina Panthers wide receiver Diontae Jhonson could be that guy to help out Dallas. In the story, he notes that the team's offense could use a few more weapons and that Dak really only has CeeDee Lamb and a few question marks to work with on offense. The Cowboys' front office needs to go out and make a splash in the trade market, he stated. Luckily for them, there's a few teams that could be dealing their weapons before the trade deadline. While Presnell says that Adam Thielen could also be a fit for the Cowboys, he writes that Jhonson, specifically, makes sense. Jhonson will be a free agent next offseason but could also make for a nice trade chip for Carolina. Jhonson was added to the Panthers roster this offseason and his contract expires at the end of the season, Presnell added. The Cowboys have a ton of extra draft capital that they could use to acquire him. As for stats, Jhonson caught 107 passes for 1,161 yards and 8 touchdowns in 2021. While those numbers are nothing to wink at, Presnell asserts that in Dallas, he would excel as the wide receiver 2 with Dak Prescott throwing to him. If Dallas wants to be a serious Super Bowl contender this year, they need to go after another weapon, Presnell added. Diontae Jhonson could be that guy. Back in March of this year, Gary Davenport of Bleacher Report also wrote that he believed Jhonson could be a good get for the Cowboys. At the time, he noted that the Cowboys have a potential need at wide receiver, and that has certainly proven to be true judging by the Saints' loss. Not everyone thinks Jhonson will head to the Cowboys. In a September 18 feature for Bleacher Report, Christopher Knox names Jhonson's potential suitors as the Los Angeles Rams and New England Patriots. Receiver-needy teams could use Jhonson, who caught 51 passes for 717 yards and 5 touchdowns as the Pittsburgh Steelers' number 2 receiver last year, Knox noted in the piece. The Los Angeles Rams, who now have both Cup, ankle, and Nakua, knee, on the injury list, could be at the forefront of interested teams, Knox noted. The New England Patriots may also want to consider pursuing Jhonson. He added, New England still lacks reliable receiver depth, but after a 1-1 start, and the Week 2 loss coming in overtime, the Patriots are more competitive than most expected. And you, fan? What do you think of the situation of Diontae Jhonson? Leave your opinion in the comments.